Dear Diary, today my project is a little bit of a tangent as it barely contains any knitting or crochet or spinning, but I thought I would share what I'm planning on doing, and then once I finish I will add the finished object in. So basically what it is I'm going to be making a macrame crystal pendant, and I'll just show you what I have. So I don't like metal chains or any kind of metal really touching my body. So I've got this cord necklace that I got from Joanne Fabrics. And then I have this crystal point, which I don't know if you can see that. This is black tourmaline crystal point. And my idea is to do a macrame cord around the crystal and then hang it from the necklace. And so what I have here, I'm going to be using my hand spun for the macrame part. So this, you can't really see it that well. This is a very special hand spun that I did a few years ago. I'm trying to find an end to show you, and I'm not wearing my glasses, so it's a little hard. This is a lace weight, 2-ply lace weight that I spun on a supported Tibetan spindle a couple years ago. I don't know if you can see this. Where is the camera? Oh, it's up. I know how to use my camera, totally. So I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, it's 2-ply lace weight that I spun on a Tibetan supported spindle a couple years ago, and I just spun it with a lot of intention for it to be a powerful yarn at the time. There's the end. And it's a very special yarn to me. It's mostly black, but it's got flecks of purples and yellows in it as well. The fiber was a gift from a dear friend. She picked it up for me from the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival, which I used to go to all the time back when I lived in Maryland. And so it was a really great souvenir. I believe the Rolags were called, the colorway was called Maleficent, and it was like, I don't remember the exact blend, but it was like an exotic blend with like silk and stuff mixed, and it wasn't just straight wool. So it's very special to me. However, it is lace weight, and I was worried that that would be too thin to use around the crystal and that it would snap if somebody tugged on my crystal, because I do have a 4-year-old. So I went ahead and chain plied some of it to make a thicker yarn. You can see that. So that's about a fingering weight. Let's see if I can get one of the pops of color. There's a little pop of yellow in that one. So I'm planning on using this to do the macrame around the crystal. So I think the crystal, most of the macrame tutorials I've seen use like bigger raw chunks. I'm actually wondering if this is going to be too thick. No, I don't think it's going to be too thick. See, it's barely going to show up against the crystal once you've done it. So, so yeah, and I originally planned on doing a raw chunk of black tourmaline, which I really like the way it looks. It kind of looks like charcoal. It's like a layered. But I read that it can shed a lot and is fragile and doesn't handle being picked up and rubbed on a lot. And I actually experienced that when I got my piece of raw black tourmaline in the mail. I got them both at the same time, this piece and the raw piece. And literally it was like flaking in my hand as I was unwrapping it from the bubble wrap. So I didn't do that. But this shape I think will be a little bit harder to do the macrame on just because it's so small, and I've never done macrame before, and I've already looked at the tutorial, and like it uses 4 different knots, like tying knots, and I don't really know how to do any kind of knot on purpose. You know, you just kind of tie something, but it's not a specific kind of, you're just tying it. It's not like a specific method. So I have to Google every single knot type in the tutorial first before I can even follow the instructions. But I'm super excited to try it. And yeah, I'll let you know how it goes and what the finished object ends up looking like. I'm just remembering the one other thing I wanted to mention is I did, after chain plying this, I did soak this in moon water during
5 minutes of recording.
I know, during the Capricorn full moon. So that's special
Stop
too.
recording.
Hold on, I'm not done talking, okay? I'm almost done. And I'll talk about the properties of black tourmaline in the next video clip after I finish, because my 4-year-old wants to go make loud popcorn. So that is what we're going to do. And yeah. End diary entry. Dear diary, today I just wanted to talk a little bit about my finished project. I did finish the macrame crystal pendant that I was talking to you about a few minutes ago. I do not have very much more to add that I didn't already say before I did the project, but I did just want to touch a little bit on it. So the first thing I want to say is I'm very, very pleased with the finished product. I've been wearing it for a couple of days and it's held up pretty well to me holding it, rubbing my fingers across it, and also to my 4-year-old rubbing on it and pulling on it. And it hasn't fallen apart. So that, of course, is always a plus. It was also a lot easier to do than I was expecting. Most of the knots, I didn't recognize the names of the knot, but then when I Googled how to do them, they were in fact knots that I'd done before. I just didn't know what they were called. So they weren't super tricky. The biggest issue was one that I already predicted. The crystal I picked is not really an ideal shape for macrame. It's too narrow and thin, and so it was hard to get the mesh small enough where the crystal won't fall out. I think I could very easily pull the crystal out through one of the holes if I wanted to, but it seems pretty firm, like it probably won't fall out on accident anytime soon. And the other thing is I didn't want to waste yarn, and so I give myself just not quite enough yarn to really easily do the finishing part. So that part was harder than it needed to be, just because I was a bit miserly on the length of the yarn that I cut, because you cut four strands of yarn initially, and I didn't make them quite as long. I could have, so in the future I'll be more generous with myself with that. And then the last part of the project, I didn't really think in advance. They use glue to finish it, just to, when you cut the ends of the yarn, just to glue them down so they don't come up. And I didn't really prepare anything. The tutorial didn't say what type of glue. I assume they were probably using fabric glue of some kind, but I didn't have anything prepared, so I just used Elmer's glue because that's what I have. And it seems fine. I mean, the spot where you touch it is noticeably like stiff, but it's fine. It looks fine. So let me take this off so that you can see it. Now that I've... So here it is. So you start your first knot at the top, and then I work my way down, making this mesh until you get to the bottom here, the base, where you make this big knot, and then you create a loop. So it's hard to see because it's black on black, but I made a loop with the yarn that then you can feed the necklace cord through. So I don't know if you can see that. It's really late at night and dark in my office, but I wasn't sure if I was going to get another chance to record this anytime soon. I'm just trying to catch it so you can see. That's about as good as it's going to get. There you go. You can kind of see some pops of purple in the string too, and then how it's on the cord. So, like, there's my light right there. So anyway, so that's how it is. I really like it. I think it turned out pretty good for our first time at macrame, especially considering that I wasn't even using the right kind of stone, shape-wise. And then I did just want to talk a little bit about the stone I picked, which was black tourmaline. And I picked this stone specifically for protection, energy protection, because I am an introvert and an empath, and I do have a lot of emotionally needy people in my life, specifically my 4-year-old who loves to be hugged and kissed and talked to all day long, and it's just sort of there to sort of like protect my energy and like shield from like energy vampires and like negative emotions, and kind of help me to self-regulate and not have other people's emotions affect how I feel personally, because I do have issues sometimes where if somebody else in the house is cranky or mad, or if the baby is crying, then I get really bad where like I will start crying because the baby is crying, because I can't like separate my emotions from other people's emotions. So that's what it's for. I also have a pretty big chunk, way too big to be on a necklace, chunk of black tourmaline in my bedroom. It's part of one of my little amateur crystal grids that I'm playing around with, you know, just to kind of help with that. I don't know if you can hear that, but my cat is attacking my door. He wants in. So I've been playing around with that. That's really all I have to say. Not super a lot in the crafting world to talk about right now. I am working on a lace weight beaded crochet shawl, and I will do a video about that when it's done. I've probably got a couple more weeks to go on it because progress is slow. There's about 530 stitches per row right now that I'm doing in lace weight. So it's taking a long time. But you will be hearing about that soon. I hope you're having a wonderful day and a wonderful week, and I will see you when I see you. Good night.